So well, I can catch it. Yeah, it's just. When I do it like this, then yeah, for the whole way there. There's some. It will be helpful. Hare Krishna, dear Vaishnavas, and good morning. Mantul Damodar ki jai. Okay, it's 8:05, so it's not too late. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayo Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Jayo Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjanam Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjanam Yamunatira Panachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shishi Radha Gopinatha ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Manto Damodar ki jai, Grantaraj Bhagavatam ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Dear Vaishnavas, Hare Krishna, and good morning. Yeah, it doesn't work, Mataji Bhagavati, for me. Thank you, Gopinath. Well, I have to officially admit I need to wear the glasses. Why? Because my world is becoming a little bit fused with the blurriness and I'm not able to catch up directly on the text. Grazie. That's yours for reading?
Yeah, that's for reading. No.
Yeah. It's better, you see? One size fits all. So what we are going to do, we are going to read the verse, chant the verse, read the purport, then I will say a few words, and then, of course, you will be able to say a few questions, comments, and whatever. Oh, Anandini, good to see you. I see you without glasses. Hare Krishna, welcome. After some months, right? Vijay. So today we are continuing our reading of Srimad Bhagavatam. We are at the canto 10th. 10th canto, it's the prayers of the personified Vedas. It's the chapter 87 and the verse 32. So, question, which I didn't know until yesterday. Shyamananda Prabhu, this is also for you now. Who was in charge of this chapter in terms of translation and purporting? Because as we know, this is a very unique chapter, by the way, and we heard last days a little bit more that pretty much all the philosophy is there and all the darshanas. It's Gopi Paranadhana Prabhu. 83 till 89 group of Vaishnavas headed by Kridananda Maharaj and Gopi Paranadhana Prabhu were working on commenting Bhagavatam. But it happened at the end, at least in that year, for who knows which reasons, Kridananda Maharaj was not around. So we had Gopi Paranadhana Prabhu doing the purport. And I was just yesterday by reading this, and today by reading it, and hearing it few days ago in terms of the length purport, I was thinking how it came that it's such a lengthy purport. If you need to, and of course Nadia Bihari Prabhu was complaining yesterday, my brain is not able to kind of catch up on all the topics which are raised in the purport. And that's true. It's quite rich, but in the same time, it's not kind of invention of Gopi Paranadhana Prabhu. In fact, he is taking comments mostly from Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And if I tell you that just in this verse and purport we are having 8 other verses quoted, it's quite intense. So I don't know how we are going to proceed, honestly speaking, but it's going to be somehow. So please be kind upon me and let us see what's going to happen. And this is also a good analogy for me, having the glasses. If we have Shastra Chakshush, if we are able to wear the glasses of Shastra, we are able to see properly and maybe read properly and hopefully also understand properly. Oh, yeah. Nishu tava mayaya brahmam avishu avaktya brashav. Nishu tava mayaya brahmam amishu avaktya brisham. Tvai sudiyo abhave dadati bhavam anuprabhavam. Tvai sudiyo abhave dadati bhavam anuprabhavam. Katam anuvrattatam bhavabhayam tavayad burukutihim. Katam anuvrittatam bhavabhayam tavayad burukutihim. Sri Jati Mukhu Srinamir Abhavat Shareshnubayam. Sri Jati Mukhu Srinamir Abhavat Shareshnubayam. Nishu Tava Mutayabama Amisho Vakatya Brisham. Vai sudiyo abhave dadati bhava anuprabhavam. Katam anuvritatam bhavabhayam tavayadritukutihim. Sri Jati Mukhu Srinamir Abhavachareshnubhayam. Prabhus. Sudiyo abhave dadati bhavam anantravam
Atam anuvatatam bhavayam tavayadrukuti
Katam anuritatam bhavavayam tavayadrukuti
Sri Jati Mustrinemira Bhavacharane Shubhayam
Sri Jati Muhustinemir Abhravachareshnubhayam. Ladies.
Nishutava Mayaya Brahmam Amivishvavat Vagatya Grisham
Visham Prabhamayam Amisham Asagata Brisham
Twayi Sudiyo Bhavidadati Bhavam Anupabhavam
Vai Sudiyo Vedadati Bhavam Ankrabhavam
Katam Anuvatatam Bhavabhayam Tavayad Rukutihi
Katam Anuvritam Bhavavayam Pravayadrukuti
Sri Jati Muhu Strinamir Abhavacharane Shubhayam
Sri Jati Muhustinemir Abhavachareshnubhayam Nishu Tava Mayaya Brahmam Amishu Avagatya Brisham Vai Sudiyo Abhave Dadati Bhavam Anuprabhavam Katam Anuritam Bhavabhayam Tavayadrukuti Sri Jiti Mukhustinamir Abhavachareshnubhayam Nishu. Among humans, Tava, your, Mayaya, by the illusory energy, Brahman, bewilderment, Amishu, among these, Avagatya, understanding, Brisham, fervent. What's this word?
Fervent.
Yeah.
Fervent, very enthusiastic.
Very enthusiastic. Okay. Tvayi, unto you. Sudiyaha, those who are wise. Abhave, unto the source of liberation. Dadati, render. Bhavam, loving service. Anuprabhavam, potent. Katam, how? Anuvartatam, for those who follow you faithfully. Bhavam, of material life. Bhayam, fear. Tava, your. Yat, since. Brew, of the eyebrows. Kutihi, the furrowing. Srijati, creates. Muhuhu, repeatedly. Trinamihi, three-rimmed in the three phases of time, namely past, present, and future. Three rim in the three phases of time, namely past, present, and future, are not bhavat from you. Sharaneshu, for those who take shelter. Bhayam, fear. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada's disciples, Guru Parampara Ki Jai. The wise souls who understand how your Maya deludes all human beings render potent, loving service to you, who are the source of liberation from birth and death. How, indeed, can fear of material life affect your faithful servants? On the other hand, your furrowing eyebrows and triple-rimmed wheel of time repeatedly terrify those who refuse to take shelter of you. What I'm going to do, I will just read one paragraph of the purport and then see how it goes, and otherwise it might be a little bit too much and we don't want to, because 1,000 words and plus it's at least 10 minutes of reading, and if you want to read slower it will be longer, and we had a long program already, so on that level I will just try to be as dynamic as possible, and if I fail, I am to be blamed. It's also Rim. The Vedas revealed that most cherished secret devotional service to the personality of Godhead only to those who are tired of material illusion, which is based on a false sense of independence from the Lord. The Vajrasena Samhita 32:11 of the White Yajurveda contains the following mantra: Paritraya Bhutani Paritya Lokan Paritya Sarvaha Paradisha Divishicha Upasthaya Patama Jamritasya Natmanam Abhisambhishesha. After passing beyond all the species of life, all the planetary system, and all the limits of space in all directions, one approaches the original soul of immortality. Then one receives the opportunity to enter permanently into his domain and worship him with devotional service. Nishitava Mayaya Brahman Amishu Avagatya Brisham Tvaye Sadiko Bhave Dadati Bhavam Anuprabhavam Katam Anuvrittatam Bhava Bhayam Tavayat Brubhutihi Srijati Muhu Srinamir Abravachareshnu Bhayam. The wise soul who understand how your Maya deludes all human beings surrender potent, loving service to you, who are the source of liberation from birth and death. How, indeed, can fear of material life affect your faithful servants? On the other hand, your furrowing eyebrows, the triple-rimmed wheel of time, repeatedly terrify those who refuse to take shelter of you. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitayina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namini Namaste Saraswati Deva Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Dear Vaishnavas, Hare Krishna, good to be with you, and I'm not so I don't want to say enthused, but I'm not so thrilled that I'm sitting here and there are so many senior Vaishnavas on the other side, but ultimately this is our service also, so please take it in that way, and if some mistakes are coming, which are going to be natural, please don't take it hard. So I would like to start with, whenever I sit here, pretty much Mataji Bhagavati kindly engages me every 2 weeks. I'm thinking who passed away in the meantime. And each time, someone from in my life disappears, meaning is gone, departed. So I have to now remember a friend of mine who helped me. In beginning of my Krishna consciousness, 1997, 8, 9, latest 99, it was one devotee called Prabhu. He was in my university city in Croatia, maybe 10, 15 years older than me, and he was Sankirtan devotee. And he was a unique character because before Krishna consciousness, and he picked up Krishna consciousness in 80s as a young boy, he was just doing fishing. He would go to the river and he would just spend the whole day fishing. And then said, when he became a devotee in second part of 80s, he said, I become now fisherman of people. And then he would do Sankirtan because he was a disciple of Rohini Sutta Prabhu. They were aware only of few activities and service. One of them is book distribution. That was it. And later he... Yeah, I just wanted to make it entertaining. You know. Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. I will try to slow it down. And that gentleman later switched to cow protection. And Krishna took him very quickly, in 2 months' time, brain cancer. So if I can ask you that we just kindly sing one Maha Mantra for Mahaprabhu, who departed at age of 63 only. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In fact, in my initial Krishna consciousness, I was always I was attached to the philosophy, there was no question, but I was very perplexed and touched by the personality of devotees. Because I was thinking they are such a unique characters, each of them, and this gentleman was quite a character. So I was always relished rasa of different personalities. That's for me always in life. Look, we are so different, and it's really touching. At least for me, that's kind of the way how I perceive the Vaishnavas. I enjoyed it, and back to the verse we are having today, an extensive purport. I was thinking, what should I speak about? Because there are so many things in the purport. Everything starts with Maya, but in the context of the whole chapter, which is at least compiled in terms of the purports by Gopaparandana Prabhu, I was kind of trying to catch up and connect with what we heard yesterday from Nadia Bihari Prabhu. Some of you were attending the class. And first thing which I appreciate in the presentation of Nadia Bihari Prabhu is his authentic style. That's beautiful. At least in my case, it touched my heart, because he would say this philosophy is very simple, this is very straightforward, but I'm maybe not the best example for that. This is the way how it will be happening, and you can practice, but look, it's a little bit embarrassing. So he was speaking, and that's also topic of today's verse and the purport. He was speaking a little bit about the fear and the old age and the troubles conditions souls are having. It's obviously repeated subject which we are facing. And I was thinking 25, 30 years ago that level of anxiety which I'm having in life about particular issues is going to diminish as time goes by. And hearing some Vaishnavas, and also from my experience, looks like some things are going to be kind of, as we are getting into the age, some things are going to diminish, and it's beautiful. But in the same time, certain major stumbling blocks are still there. And especially when we read the scripture, and we read it regularly, looks like there is something called fear, bhaya, which is always there. So how do we define fear according to the Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy? What's the fear? It looks like fear is always there, and this verse is also speaking about the fear. What's the fear?
Lack of knowledge.
Lack of knowledge, Mataji Taranamrita said.
Forgetting Krishna.
Forgetting Krishna, Mataji, Rupa Manjari and Bhagavati.
Not being good enough at the end of your life.
Fear that you didn't make it in a way you could, and it's fear that you kind of miss it. Someone else? Purna Tattva Prabhu.
The fear of death is
Fear of death.
all pervasive.
Why what does it mean? Why fear of death?
Because it is natural for the soul to die. Robert said so, and naturally, actually, everybody is fearful of death because it's like an unknown thing for most of the living entities. But the Vaishnava, of course, they knows because they know what is happening, so they are not fearful.
Yeah, ultimately it comes down in 11th, I found in 11th canto, chapter 3, definition, which is ultimately always coming back to us as an answer. Identification of yourself with the body, with something which is not true, which is not your ultimate identity, it always creates the fear. And what we can hear here, and what Vedas are speaking about the fear, and practically it always comes to Bhayam this, Bhayam that, and I was looking into the Veda base. Bhayam, or fear, is so present, meaning every little we hear something about the fear. And there is one even verse in 3rd canto of Bhagavatam, which is pretty much repetition of the same verse, speaking about the fear. Fear is the one who causes wind to blow, sunshine, and it's just repeating in the two different verses. I was quite surprised to find it. I have it here in chapter 25 of 3rd canto, verses 40 and 42, amazing, one almost after another. He said, Yad payat vatti vatto ayam suryastapati yad bhayat. It's about fear. And he said, one, out of fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the wind blows. Out of fear of him, the sun shines. Out of fear of him, the rain pours forth showers. And out of fear of him, the host of heavenly bodies shed their luster. And the second verse is, it is because of my supremacy that the wind blows. Out of fear of me, the sun shines. Out of fear of me, the Lord of the clouds, Indra, sends forth showers. Out of fear of me, fire burns. Out of fear of me, the death goes about, taking its toll out of fear of me. So that subject of fear, for me personally, was always unpleasant. And I in fact ran away from the Christian tradition based on the installing the fear into the population, into the congregation, and it was all about the fear. And we can also understand from this verse, and from many other verses, that for devotees there is no fear. And that's also a little bit, no fear at all. And that's a little bit challenging, at least to say, and I can very much relate with Nadia Bihari Prabhu's presentation. He said, I'm a little bit embarrassed because I have a fear, and it's there. I see the old age is coming and the death is there, although that doesn't exist. You're just leaving the body and that's it, you're changing your service. Still, based on that and fear and misidentification with the body and certain temporary shelters, we are not able to experience bhakti. That's the whole idea, and something which is repeatedly coming back to us, and that's the reason why Srila Prabhupada is always addressing our primary fear, because we are identified with the body. And everything starts with that. You are not this body, and build up upon that. Build up upon that. You are not this body. Sometimes we can be bewildered and kind of, why always same repetition in the scripture? But that's the cause. If we are addressing that one, then we can go above, and then we can experience more freedom. And if you want, we can relish devotional service. We can relish our connection with Krishna if we are not conditioned by the fear. So ultimately, that leads to there. And what this verse and the verses around are trying to prove and bring forward is the supremacy of devotional service, which is ultimately something which is going to address the fear and chase away the darkness, as Mataji Taranamrita was saying. And that's pretty much all about in our philosophy. Whatever we are doing, we are trying to get that freedom, and we are looking to get rid of fear and be more authentic our own self. As more we are able to do that, as better we are able to perform devotional service, as better we can be our own self and our own personality, which is ultimately something which is able to offer Krishna connection and love. And we can offer devotional service in terms of our daily activities. If there is less fear and more, if you want to say, love. So that comes pretty much to that level and addressing the core issue of our existence. Core issue means that we are in a society, in a world full of fear, anxieties, and that's the reason why we are, because of that and the darkness which we are fighting with each other and trying to find a way how to address that fear, but also igniting more fears into others, and that's not the way. So pretty much that's I would say what we are reading and hearing these days, and obviously that's going to be continued for the few more days. So, but we can meditate and see to which extent we are conditioned by the fear. And I can say myself, what are my challenges and fears I'm having, and do I need to be with them, or could I address them and get rid of them, and how? So definitely Krishna light can help us, and sadhana bhakti can help us, and that's the reason why we are trying to find a way how to move forward in devotional service, being more without fear. Ultimately, Srila Prabhupada is Abhaya Charanaravinda, one who is without fear. And that means that we can address every issue we are having in a particular way with the bhakti. So that's pretty much what I would like to say till now. It's 8:37, better to be shorter than longer, but I'm more than happy to hear some comments from you. Is there any fear down there in a Canarian?
Yeah, of course, there's always fear in Canadians, yes, with the weather or with all kinds of Yes, in the Canarians there's so much fear going on, even though it sounds very like romantic to be there with the beautiful weather and the sea and the mountains, and everything sounds so pretty. But at the same time, there is fear because there is a lot of criminality sometimes, or there is so many immigrants coming. People don't find their own homes who live there in Tenerife. I mean, they don't earn much money. There's so much fear that people are not happy and feeling stressed. Yeah, so it can be very beautiful, but at the same time there's so much not very beautiful.
Thank you. Mataji Bhagavati.
I was just thinking when Nandini was speaking how important it actually is to have devotees who have reached that point where they can be fearless, because that is what society is looking for. Because everybody is afraid. So if you find somebody who's not afraid, who has the solution to all the things that we are afraid of, then people will follow that person, people will listen to that person.
Yeah, thank you. It comes natural that we have to have realization and insight. We have to kind of have something which is so precious that we see there is something more above this domain we are performing. And as we are above it and beyond it, it helps us definitely. Hearing you, Mataji Bhagavat, I remember I was so always, but I was impressed with Kanamakana Maharaj. You know. Of course, he went in life with the particular things which he told me personally. I was always surrounded by that. That was all around. Friends of mine, everyone was dying. He said, and that for me was kind of, and then he went through the experience he went through, and it was quite insightful and helpful to see that we can, not in a cheap way, reach particular consciousness which is going above of that conditioned fear, which is kind of crippling ultimately. Fear is always crippling, and if we are able to look the fear in the mouth, that's something. Once Krishna Lila from New York, that's the lady who does constellation. She was with us here 20 plus years ago. She said you have to find a way to look the fear in her eyes. If you are able to do that, there is more chance to live life in a way that you're not going to be regretful at the end and see, I could do so many things in a better way, but I was not so brave. So that would be kind of slight failure. Thank you, Mataji. Okay, Punatata Prabhu and then Mataji Jadurani.
Is it not an utopian to think that there's a situation where there's no fear? Because even Lord Chaitanya, actually he was fearful in the case of this devotee who bought this oil for him, Jagadananda. So then Jagadananda he was fasting, and after that Lord Chaitanya was always fearful that he make a mood in this Jagadananda that he would again start to fast. So we see there's also some kind of spiritual fear, isn't it?
Definitely. There is spiritual fear. Ultimately, when our fear is, and our life is molded completely around the condition of the body, it's always going to be full of anxieties, which are variation of the fear. But if you have particular vision, which is above it, then we can be fearful for the higher goals. And that's obviously spiritual culture. I'm personally not there, but at least I know what does it mean fear. So I know what does it mean fear. So at least that's the field of activity. I can see how that crippling us. But if we are able to face it, and if we are able to do things which are addressing our main issue, that's fear, what's going to happen, something which is new, and then it's great. It's liberation and it's empowering, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because I was also thinking about Prabhupada. He was once praying in front of the deities in Vrindavan, and one devotee afterwards he asked Prabhupada, I saw that you were praying, but what are you praying for? And Prabhupada said, I'm praying that I am not being catched by Maya. Maya is so strong. So in one sense, Prabhupada, he said, we have to be fearful.
Exactly. And also Prabhupada was commenting, as you know, main objection which he had towards his disciples is that they were not afraid of illusion. They were straightforward.
Yeah.
That was, as far as I know, one of the things Prabhupada was remarking about them. Mataji Jadurani.
Is in the same line of being afraid. I was thinking there's a difference between being fearful because of realization, because of knowledge, and there's not being afraid because of ignorance. So for example, if a person, Prabhupada was speaking about animals, so they are on the way to get slaughtered, and they are just going on eating, and they don't really. But person, if it would be a person with knowledge or animal with knowledge, they will be afraid. So then there is fear, which kind of there's some necessary fear. If you're crossing the road and you don't look, you look because you're afraid something is going to happen. You're careful. So then there's a necessary fear, but there's a fear which is not necessary, which is more harmful, and it's different. So fear, I don't think it's bad if it is in connection to Krishna, and it is bad if it is in connection to forgetting Krishna. So that's, yeah.
That's the crucial point. Thank you, Mataji Jadurani. And we should always find a way how to properly distinct those two, what's that fear about? Is it just because we are sheltered by our own misconception, or we are looking towards offering some service which is bringing us in a domain which is unknown to us? And that's the reason why we are fearful. That's another thing. Thank you. Mataji Taruna Amrita. I guess that question of fear, maybe someone gave or not, but then maybe it can be seminar on fear. I don't remember. Do we have any kind of seminar connected with the fear? About fear, huh? Wow. Okay, great. Thank you. Mataji.
Yeah, I was thinking that in connection to fear, I always see the connection with trust and fear. There's fear, okay, but Krishna is there. That is a kind of automatic, what I apply, try to apply. Fear is there, but trust is there. Krishna is there, demigods, everybody is there, and I try my best. And so, but fear is a part of life, of material life. So I think it should always be connected to trust. That it's then the fear becomes less, or not at all.
Trust and fear. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Please.
Hare Krishna, I'm not sure if I understood right, because at the beginning you were saying that devotees are not fearful, right? Because they know what will happen. But that means then that these devotees are pure devotees, I guess. And they have then the complete trust in Krishna, and wherever they go, they probably know that they will be in service. And then yesterday, in Nadia Bihari's class, somebody asked what to do, like to be more focused on Krishna. And then his answer was to go to Mangal Arati and to chant and just be...
Sadhaka.
Yeah, sadhaka. And but so is the process to be less fearful, to also be patient, and then just follow what we have to do, and then
It's a process, like everything. You know, things are not happening automatically by your identification with being a devotee. That's great. You have identity, I'm a devotee, but you know, in the same time, the variety of devotees, and also there is devotional practice, which can be in ignorance. Mm-hmm. Hopefully we are not there, in passion and in sattva mode. So it is mixed devotional service. So that's the reality we are living in. And based on that, we have less, meaning we have more or less conditioning in life. The greatest mistake, we can take it for granted, because I'm a devotee, so I have the keys for everything. Well, there is a process, but it's very beautiful because it's very individual. So it's up to you, it's up to me. Others can help us. For sure, we are here to assist each other, and it's a sacred combination, but at the same time, we should apply that. And ultimately, in this age, how do we get rid of fear and ignorance, which is ignorance, is primarily through the chanting of the holy name. And there are many other angas or supportive activities for that very same reason. And as more we are serious, as depending from the position or conditioning we are coming, we are experiencing more or less freedom and noble emotions which are not constrained by fear and ignorance. That's naturally. And when you are on that platform, then you can naturally, you can be more authentic, you can be yourself, and you can experience life and love in a better way. Yes?
Thank you.
Does it make sense?
Yeah, I will have to re-listen to your answer to have understood, heard everything. But you said now about chanting, and we should chant more. I personally have made the experience if something happened and then it's not like something positive, then it consumes my whole mind, I guess, and then the chanting is like really, really bad, But so does it again come down to okay, just be patient, and then maybe then that day the chanting is really bad, and then okay, next day or next week it's better?
It's always like that. You have to be patient. You have to have faith, patience, but in the same time Prabhupada was giving advice to his disciples, when you are having issues or something is not really, something hit you, then you can chant a little bit louder, and that will chase away the anxiety. That was one of Prabhupada's remedies. And it helps. I have personal experience. I'm sure others are also having. If you are having issue, and you just give yourself more that vibration and you listen, and it really helps. It really helps. Mataji Bhagavati.
It was like in relation to what Tornyamrita said about, there's the fear and then there's the trust, but also like in the beginning you mentioned Shastra Chakshus, and I find that when we read, then it's kind of like the other day we were reading the invocation of Ishopanishad, and then you realize that this world is a complete unit, and there can be so many fears for the weather, and then people, you go on Facebook, the world will end, and there's so many, but the world is a complete unit. It's part of the Lord. This body is a complete unit. Everything is meant to be the way it is. So if we read and we read and we read, then all the time we have this fresh images which can help us over our fear, and which will give us that trust in Krishna. Not only in Krishna, but in Krishna's creation, in that everything is the way it is meant to be. And we think we have a lot of influence on the goings on in this world. We can destroy the world. No, we can't, because we're tiny, tiny, tiny. So, and when we have that trust, then everything becomes a lot more peaceful. But that trust is based on what we read.
Yeah,
regularly.
It's quite a paradox we are living ultimately. We are unlimitedly small, conditionally insignificant, but as such, if we are with our full potency, we can control one who is controlling everyone. So it's interesting, and then we think that we are controllers in this world, right? But ultimately we are not. But if we have love, then things are completely changed. So it's kind of yes, but
in connection to what Bhagavati said, and the other thing that Bhagavati said,
Bhagavati Uvacha.
That's what I always tell in the tour also, that even if tomorrow a bomb drops, then we will chant so nicely and so intense, and we pray so nicely, and we leave the body. And one time, one devotee asked to Srila Prabhupada, what happens when you leave the body? When a devotee leaves the body? And Prabhupada he said, when a devotee leaves the body, and he opened his eyes and he said, wow, wow, wow. He was like, hey, where am I now? Like a person going out of the body. But so to give them faith, to give them trust, actually I say like that. But I also remembered, I read this book, A Bond of Love, of all Prabhupada's disciples, and female disciples, and all the time it comes to the point that when they were in the presence of Srila Prabhupada, there was no fear, there was nothing, there was just a feeling sheltered, and they wanted to stay on the spot and stay there forever till the end of life. In the certain things it comes like that. It's so special that somebody who is completely without fear can transport that fearlessness to those who are around. So the association is so powerful, important, essential, yes.
If I can say one thing, one of the greatest mistakes, because we are personalist, very individualistic, and the problem can arise if we take our devotional practice ritualistically. And then we rely just on numbers and what we are going to perform, and there is no transformation. It's not transactional process. I will do this, and that's it. It's transformation. So we should find a way, and that's the kind of tough moment. We have to find a way through our devotional practice that we are able to transform our heart. That's needed. And then, that's another paradox. When we transform ourselves, we will come to the point that I'm completely unqualified. Not that we kind of expect now, I did this, and now, Krishna, where are you? So that's kind of phenomena, you know. And if we expect I'm entitled for something, that can be big dangers, because we ultimately could be disappointed. Not only at the moment of departure from this body, but also in this body, if we are saying, okay, I did this, there is no, on that level, guarantee. Although Srila Prabhupada was always very kind, and it's natural, things are happening and we are getting transformation, but we shouldn't take it for granted in a sense that we are entitled. That's something which is, I would say. And now, finally, we came to the point that Madhu Gopal Prabhu is, it's very difficult to get him to give Siddhanta, but thank you, Madhu. Always good to hear from you, by the way. Thank
Hare Krishna, thank you for this nice introduction. First of all, I wanted to say the end of the world is about 230,000 years. So it's a long time. That's the end of Kali Yuga. And yeah, so Bhagavati was saying that, the Bhaktisiddhanta was saying the only leg is Krishna conscious, our own Krishna conscious. Of course, we also want to help others. And then Tarunyamrita, she was saying trust. Some people might say courage, but I would suggest love. And we all know that is the ultimate goal. We have all these stages, and we were also talking about faith or trust, Shraddha, Sadhusanga, Bhajana Kriya, which means initiation and follow the process. And then, of course, Anartha-nivritti. And yeah, that is where I am. Just even trying to answer this question, I'm all full of fear and anxiety. So yeah, that is a big stage, this Anartha-nivritti, and many devotees, they struggle with that. And yeah, so that is kind of where I am, and I would think most of us are. And yeah, then you're still in the fear. But yeah, it's a big topic, you know. And then yeah, so then what you're left with, like this, what Natya Bihari said, you have to follow the sadhana, and then slowly it will come. And Anartha-nivritti, it means that you think you have something valuable, some artha, some money, but it's actually an anartha, it's actually an obstacle. Like I have a garden, and there were all these prickly plants around my property, and they were just choking the hedge. So I cut them off. And sometimes they grow back, then I have to come again with my axe and chop them. Because they're not to kill them. I mean, I kill them, it's very bad. But it's to protect the hedge. So in other words, we think something is valuable, like anger or fear, it is valuable, but when we see that we don't really need it, and we can replace it with something better, trust in Krishna and Guru and the devotees, and then, yeah, then slowly, yeah. And yeah, then one other point, which is a little bit, what Yadharani was talking about, which is a little bit difficult to understand sometimes. Like, I think the most example is, I think it was Madhavendra Puri. He was leaving his body, and then he was complaining, oh, I have no love for Krishna. And then one of his disciples says, why are you complaining? And that was a mistake, because it was a transcendental complaining. But of course, it's a little bit controversial, because sometimes this is misunderstood or misjudged or misused. That devotees are pretending to be on a high level. I mean, I'm talking in the past, and then we find out, oh no, that was fake. So you know, for ourselves, we have to see, is it transcendental or not? And that is usually eating, sleeping, mating, defending. If it's connected to that, then it's not transcendental. And if it's actually to help other devotees and to help Krishna, to help the Guru and Prabhupada's movement, then it's transcendental. But that doesn't mean that we are not in Anartha-nivritti. So it's a very big process, and all these things are there. But we should not forget on what level we are. And once we're still, like me, stuck in the Anartha-nivritti, you're going to be afraid. For this janma karma, birth, death, old age, disease, you're going to be afraid of that. And the more you become pure, and then there's nishta, then you become fixed, then the sadhana will go easy, because the anarthas, they're blocking you from the nice sadhana. And then you get a little bit taste after that. So, but it's a very gradual process, but we're very lucky to be here. The sadhu sangha, that is really, really making it fast.
The fundamental. Yeah, thank you very much. I think we can conclude if there is not much to be said by any one of you. Yeah, it's very personal. I would say that's what I'm hearing from you. It's super important to be able to evaluate or try to evaluate our own state, but you cannot, and you don't know what's happening in other people's heart. And then it's a tough one if we apply the same scale. It should be very, very kind of harsh with our own self, but very supportive. And then one thing which is, I think for me, at least realization last few years, which is super important, we sometimes living in some kind of dichotomy, the divided world. Then I realize whatever we are doing, no matter what, it can be with some tinge, if I dare to say, love or certain attitude which is more positive than downscaling. You can do the same activity, but if you have that impetus, which is, and then it really colors things differently. So I was kind of, at least that's my meditation, whatever I do, I'm trying to kind of give myself in a way that it's coming from the little bit higher motivation. And that's at least, I can say it's changer, because you can always do things because you are, but there's another way how you can do it, and that's something which came to my mind while listening to you. Thank you very much for listening, dear Vaishnavas. Today we had more discussions and it was great. I appreciate your input. Srimad Grantaraj Bhagavatam ki jai, less fear, more love ki jai, Month of Damodar ki jai.